Hey, we made it to season 2.
Yay, season 2. Holla, holla, get dollar.
Well, I'm shutting down this whole podcast now because of that. That was awful. Hey, everyone. You're listening to the Nerdly Kingdom podcast. I'm Brad.
I'm Lori.
And I'm William.
And we were recording
Beep.
podcast number 25.
Oh my god.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Nerdly Kingdom.
I'm in the family.
It's the way to start
So far,
off
this has
2019.
been a pretty good year. Since the new year has started, I've seen three really good movies in theaters.
I've not been to a theater once in 2019 yet.
What we got?
Aquaman, Spider-Man,
Spider-Verse,
and Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. That's the other one.
Which one do you want to start with?
Bumblebee Tuna.
Bumblebee
You
Tuna.
want to start with Aquaman?
Let's do Bumblebee just because you're the only one that's seen it. So
Okay, so being the notorious Transformer film hater among us, I decided to see Bumblebee, and I really liked it. Really liked it. I made a joke where I was like, it's great that the Transformers franchise finally got out of its toxic relationship and found someone that finally cares about them.
I make that joke a lot.
Yeah. But before I go into this, I made a list of the most common criticisms from the first 5 Transformers movie. The Michael Bay ones.
Look at him doing his homework.
I have a lot of hatred for these movies, so the most common criticisms for the Bay Transformers movies were that they are too long. The movies feature unnecessary, out of place, juvenile humor. Like you get stuff where like miniature Transformers hump Megan Fox's leg.
Don't the Transformers like burp at some point? Like it makes no sense.
Give birth?
Burp.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
this weird burp match
They
between.
burp. Jetfire farts out a parachute in the second one. There's a big Constructicon that has testicles in the second one. Bumblebee pees on a dude's head in one of them.
Yeah.
There's like 2 different shots in the second one where a dog's humping another dog, and it's supposed to be funny. I don't understand Michael Bay's sense of humor. I mean, I understand it, but it's just stupid. Like, it's not Transformers. Like, you can't just throw shit like that into a Transformers movie.
Yeah, I can't wait till he does Robopocalypse.
This is, anyways. Idiotic side characters. Basically, the biggest complaint is that all of the human characters in the movies have no character arcs or no depth. They're just all idiots. Racist caricature side characters.
Yeah.
Several of those. A general lack of respect for Transformers lore and its characters. I mean, throughout the 5 Bay movies, Optimus Prime becomes a murdering sociopath. I'll never forget the feeling of just dread I got in, I think it was the 3rd Transformers movie, where Optimus Prime shouted, "I want your face!" to Megatron and rips his face off.
No, I don't remember that.
I do.
Well, obviously.
It's something I wish I didn't. But another one is that the character designs are boring and muted and too much, and that all the Decepticons look the same, which is true. I mean, all the Decepticons in the Bay movies are like a gray or black color.
Those are the colors of evil.
So you never
That's the way
really
it
know
works.
which character is which. I saw one person say they thought they saw Megatron die 4 different times in one movie, but it was never Megatron.
Jesus.
Another one, the biggest 2, massive continuity issues and sloppy, incoherent action sequences.
Yeah.
So
That's actually Michael Bay's middle name. His name is Michael Sloppy Incoherent Action
Michael
Sequences Bay.
Bayham. So those are the biggest complaints with the movie. And this movie fixes every single one of those.
Wow.
This movie is amazing. The first, I think 10 minutes take place during the fall of Cybertron, and you can immediately tell who all the Transformers are, because they all have their original Gen 1 designs from the old 80s cartoon. So you can immediately say, oh, that's RC. Oh, that's Soundwave. Oh, that's Optimus Prime. You can point them all out because they look normal, which is funny because, going back to when Michael Bay was making the movies, when asked about the character designs, he basically said that he thought that the old cartoon designs were stupid and blocky, and he wanted to make them look cool. And I thought they looked really cool in this movie, and they still looked like they did in the cartoons.
Like his Transformers did look stupid and blocky. They were just blocky with more angles.
But they managed to make it look good in the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like Michael Bay's were stupid and blocky. I don't know what he was trying to avoid there. He just made them blocky with like random angles where their nipples should be. Yeah. For whatever reason.
Like they looked too mechanical.
Angular nipples.
And in this movie, they actually looked normal, and so it made it easier to distinguish all the Transformers from each other because they all looked normal.
Wait, time out. Your pop punk girl band should be called Female Presenting Nipples.
Oh!
Sorry, continue. I got distracted.
But what I like is that they take the time to actually make a good movie here. Like, the main character, Charlie, who's played by Haley Steinfeld, has a character arc and has problems that need resolved, and it's resolved through her friendship with Bumblebee. There's side characters, but they're actually well written, and there's no unnecessary humor. All the humor comes natural.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena's character is fantastic. Yes, I know. I forgot he was in this movie until I saw the movie. He plays like the 90th of 90s action heroes. One scene that stands out is towards the end, they have Bumblebee locked in a storage unit on a military base.
Mm-hmm.
And John Cena and his Marines are walking up to it, and he goes, "There's a door in my way." And so they put a bunch of C4 on it and blow the door for him so he can walk in.
I mean, that's how I enter my room every day.
You just blow it up with C4?
Yeah.
There's a really funny joke where he's talking to...
C4, less door.
Jesus
where
Christ.
John Cena's character is talking to Haley Steinfeld's character's mom and stepdad about her stealing government property because she has Bumblebee with her. Bumblebee's her car. And her stepdad, like, it's okay, it's natural, you know. When I was younger, you know, I stole some candy here and there, and John Cena goes, "Yeah, we know." And I just thought it was a really funny scene. Like, there's humor in this movie, but it's natural. Very 80s soundtrack, which is really funny when there's a scene where she fixes his radio, Bumblebee's radio, because he talks to his radio. And she's playing this really upbeat tune. I can't remember what song it was. And Bumblebee's dancing to it. And she goes, "Oh, wait." And she goes and gets a Smiths tape and pops it in. And, you know, the Smiths is kind of dreary music, you know, "To die by your side." And he just kind of stands there and listens to it and then launches the tape out of his tape player. And so she replaces it with a Rick Astley tape and "Never Gonna Give You Up" plays. And then he launches it out. He's just like, no. But, I mean, it's got a lot of heart to it, and you can tell the guy, Travis Knight, the director, really cared about Transformers and really cared about making a good movie.
Well, it's like, I mean, I just saw the trailer, and the trailer gave me emotions.
It gave me genuine emotions, and I was just... A majority of my emotions during the movie was connecting with the movie, connecting with the characters, and actually finally being happy that after 10 years... we've gotten a Transformers movie that I actually really enjoy. Because I've become so depressed the state of the Transformers movies. And this one was just so good, and I really hope they use it as a foundation to reboot off of, and it seems like they are. I mean, there's a few tiny things in this movie that connect it to the first Transformers movie, but not enough big connections to where it's a straight up prequel. And I feel like that Paramount is going to reboot off of this because there's a mid-credit scenes where Optimus Prime lands on Earth and all the other Autobots come to Earth, which if you've seen the first Transformers movies, completely contradicts that entire movie. Because in the first Transformers movies, all the Autobots are coming to Earth for the first time.
Yeah.
So, but in Bumblebee, Sector 7 is mentioned and visited, and there's a young version of John Turturro's character. And at the end of this movie, Bumblebee turns into the Camaro that he is when Shia LaBeouf's character gets him in the first Transformers movie. But like I said, it's stuff that's not important.
Oh, is it supposed to be canon with the other movies?
It was supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, the connections are loose enough to where I feel like since Transformers 5 did so bad, that they might use this as a foundation to reboot off of, and I really hope they do.
That's probably a good idea.
Because this movie was so good.
If we can't stop them from making more, they need to at least make them off of that one.
Yeah.
It had like a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was really surprising.
I genuinely like this movie. Just to give you an idea of how great this movie is, Soundwave is in it, and he has his cassette tape body. And he has his cassette tape transformer that comes out.
I thought he was going to say, and he has his cassette tape nipples.
I did too, with the
And
way
I'm like,
where his
just
hands were.
waiting for it.
And I was like, they did it. They actually did it. I'm so happy. It doesn't look stupid. It looks cool.
So he has a cassette tape transformer inside of him?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I really, really, really liked it. And I really hope that they do reboot off of this movie, because I'd love to see more Transformers movies with these Transformers, not the Michael Bay Transformers. So yeah, Bumblebee. If you get a chance to see it, please go see it. It's very good. All of you people that have lost hope in live action Transformers movies because Michael Bay has just fucked up so tremendously. All right, next.
Boop.
Feels like a lightning round.
Lightning round, next!
Yeah.
Aquaman, just so much better than I was expecting. It was just so much better. My favorite part of Aquaman was when young Aquaman looks at William Dafoe and goes, "Hey, it smells like Up Dog under this water." And William Dafoe goes, "What's up, dog?"
It's the first Up Dog.
And young
joke of
Aquaman goes, "Not much.
2019.
What's up with you?" And William Dafoe's like, "This is why your mother left."
I was going to mention this. There's so many times in that movie they moved the plot forward with an explosion.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait. I have notes. For
There's 4 different conversations in that movie.
Here's my notes for this.
That get interrupted by an explosion.
I'm gonna make Aquaman notes because I haven't seen the movie yet.
Fishman.
Aquaman.
I don't know why I didn't open up my notes.
He's
Okay.
made out of water.
My notes about Aquaman.
Jason.
Actually, dang. We need to go back and talk about some movies that are going to come out after, because I just remembered it's also my notes.
Okay.
Aquaman. They had some seriously, well, minor but still serious green screen issues at the beginning of that movie. I don't know if you noticed.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
It's like the whole movie was fine until they were filming at the lighthouse, and whenever they're at the lighthouse, it's like that is the most green screeny. That's like Justice League looking horizon there, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose they spent their CGI budget on, the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's very...
That movie has so many flashbacks. It shouldn't make sense, but it flows perfectly, I think, the way it does. That was
Yeah.
It was so strange because they instead of doing a long origin story dump, they put in bits where it made sense and it actually kind of worked. They also didn't do a whole lot, which I think might have been why it worked. Because I put down the way they told the story, I think worked really well. It kind of got old. And then my next note is way too many surprise explosions.
Yes.
Way too many. The first time it happened, you're like, oh my god. The second time, you're like, oh. And the third time, like, this has got to stop. And the fourth time's like, I knew that was going to happen at this point. Like you're just halfway through a sentence. And oh, things are getting, how, imagine that you're watching Guardians of the Galaxy, but instead of defusing the situation with a joke, they defuse the situation with the nearest wall exploding and bad guys running in.
It's
I don't understand why it keeps happening.
Explosions.
But that's my most major
They missed
story
a
alone.
product placement opportunity, and one of them could have been the Kool-Aid
That's another
Man.
thing I wanted to mention about Bumblebee real quick. No product placement. No product placement.
But who will pay for the explosions?
Oh, I was so happy when I left that movie and was like, I don't remember seeing a single product placement in that movie, except for one time where she's eating a bowl of Mr. T cereal. But I think that was more just to say, hey, this is the 80s. But yeah, no product placement. Anyways, okay, moving on. Aquaman.
I have one note, and it is Jason Momoa, 90% water. Then I realized that's most humans. So I put Jason Momoa, 91% water. And then I said, why always trident? Mer people always have trident.
He asked that in the movie too. He's like, "Why can't I just use a sword? This is stupid."
Water swords.
Tradition? No,
I really
like lightning water swords. They're like lightsabers because that's what it takes to cut an Atlantean.
I was gonna say you can't
but
use
one
lightning.
thing-
That's because water is weak to it.
Do you remember
energy,
the
it's not really
part
electricity.
Oh.
where they're like, I think they're on their way to Atlantis, and there's lightning in the background? You remember that?
No.
They were under the water, and there was a thunderstorm going on under the water in the background.
I don't know, man. I don't remember that.
Because I was just like, wait, what?
I'm sure I could justify that to some point.
I don't know.
The best thing. Oh, go ahead.
Fight scene in the lighthouse with Nicole Kidman, that single shot fight scene, was the coolest shit I have ever seen.
The thing you might like about that movie, it's the fight scenes are really good, but one of the reasons they're really good is because this is, as far as I'm aware, this is the first superhero movie we've had where there are two main characters.
There's a lot of characters.
Yeah, but this one actually is about two characters. Like I would consider them both main characters, and it's not like this movie is about. If it had been called Aquaman and Mera, it still would have made sense. It wouldn't have been weird. Because, like, the movie isn't about Aquaman. It's not like Iron Man and Pepper Potts is sometimes there.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is about him and her, both of their problems, both of their character arcs, and both of them growing because of each other. And it was just really interesting to see a superhero movie with two people. Especially since she is by far, just like in the comics, way more powerful than Aquaman is.
Nice.
Way more powerful than Aquaman is.
Very nice.
She's also a lot smarter, but she's not as worldly wise, I suppose.
I like how they handle Ocean Master in this movie, because I like
It's still
that.
a stupid name.
No, that's a cool name.
That's the worst name.
I
I'm the
like
Sand
that.
Guardian.
Ocean Master!
I like that he's not just a villain for villain's sake, but he has a legitimate reason to be a bad guy. Well, not really even a bad guy, but he has a legitimate reason to be an antagonist to Aquaman.
He's starting. He's the king of Atlantis is trying to take over all the other.
Trying to take over the seven.
All the other ex-Atlanteans. That's weird. I didn't know they were all original Atlanteans before that movie. This way, that right? Am I understanding that right? Like all the different kingdoms were originally humans on the city of Atlantis before it fell.
I think
but when
so.
it fell, they evolved differently depending on where they went.
Yeah.
But he has to have like support from a certain number of them so he can control their armies, and so he can attack the surface dwellers, as they call them. And the first thing he does is like all of the pollution and garbage that was in the ocean gets washed up on the shores of the world, and that's like how he starts the attack. And I was like,
Nice.
That's how he declares war on
that
the
was
Earth.
it was nasty. It was nasty.
But
That's
I mean,
how I'm gonna start like making fights with people.
They-
Is throwing garbage at them.
handle both Ocean Master and Black Manta really well in this movie. Even though Black Manta's only in the movie for a couple minutes.
I think he's gonna be more in the next one. If you
Yeah.
watch the mid-credit scene.
But I like that they included him. I like that they included his stupid ass costume.
I like how they justified his stupid ass costume
Yeah,
too.
it looked really cool.
It was a really stupid justification for it, but it's still justification.
It looked really good on the screen though. Like it looked good. I thought it looked good, and I like that they gave Ocean Master emotive eyes
Oh yeah.
as well. I thought that was really cool. I like that they were just like this, Atlantis, the design of Atlantis and its characters are ridiculous, so we're just going to go with it.
Yeah, I mean they really did. Although I would like to point out, the suit still looks stupid.
The what?
The suit still looks stupid. Aquaman's suit still looks stupid. It has
Aquaman's
always
suit?
looked stupid. It will always look stupid.
I thought it looked
Even
really good.
Jason Momoa cannot make it look not
I thought
stupid.
it looked good.
It is stupid. Those colors should never be together at any point
Is
ever.
it still orange and green?
It's exactly the same, and it still looks stupid.
That's
I hate it.
painful.
The green
I
and
actually wrote
orange.
the suit still looks stupid 3 times in my notes. I don't remember doing that, but apparently it was that big of a deal to me.
Jesus.
But other than that, I love the dynamic between him and Mira because they could not have done it without each other. And I also like, me and Alicia have gotten to the point where we just talk during movies at this point. We sit in the back just so we can conversate how stupid movies are. And he pulls out the bottle and it's like, look inside to only the true king can like look inside the bottle.
Yeah.
I was like, and they pull out a note, and I was like, the note's fake. He said, look inside the bottle. This is D&D puzzle shit, right? This is like Skyrim level shit. You have to look in the bottle. And Alicia's like, that's dumb. Why would they do that? And sure enough, you actually have to.
Look
I was
in
like,
the
I told
bottle.
you, it would never be that easy.
I like that one Atlantean that got his helmet broke and just shoved his head in the toilet.
I thought that was dumb. That was a bit juvenile.
No, but it's dumb, but it's funny because, like, how's he gonna get out?
Yeah, I mean,
He's just stuck there for life now.
he can hold his breath, I suppose. And he's close to the shore.
Yeah, I just thought that was really funny.
What was interesting about this movie is that it was such a character-driven movie that the last battle at the end I found kind of annoying because it just wasn't as good as the rest of the movie. Like I actually like all these armies are coming together fighting each other. I'm just like, this is actually just getting in the way of the story. Like I don't want to see this. Although, did you notice who the Brine King was voiced by?
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
I knew it instantly. Yeah,
I was like, this is just Lord of the Rings all over again.
that
it was
made
voiced
me
by the dwarf from Lord of the Rings. The king was. He was using the same voice too, and he was like, "You'll never get my blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay."
The
Richard
kingdom,
Armitage is in Aquaman. Did you say the Dwarven King?
The dwarf, not
Gimli.
Gimli, gotcha. Okay.
was the king, and I might have said Dwarven King, but the dwarf is the Brine King in Aquaman.
Gotcha.
The Kingdom of the Brine made me really uncomfortable because the night before I saw that movie, I had a dream that I got killed by a dog-sized lobster.
Jesus.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. The trench people. Holy shit.
Yeah, Alicia did not like that.
That was
like
not
that.
cool.
Okay, I'm gonna ruin the movie for you. A little bit.
You should have seen it, Lori.
I'm sorry.
It's not a valid point. It's just a really cool point.
I'm not gonna be that upset, but I am adding it into the notes.
Because they're always like, oh man, Aquaman can control sea creatures. What are you gonna do? Attack me with fish? One, the other armies rode in on sharks, so when they turned around and started attacking them, that was hilarious. Two, there's these apparently sea creatures count as people that are so de-evolved they become fish, because they're basically like zombies but fish people. Like think like Creature of the Black Lagoon thing, because they were supposed to be people at some point, like millions of years ago, but they devolved into things. He just turns them around. And two, they're like, oh, he controls sea creatures? He comes out of the fucking volcano riding a kaiju. Like, straight up kaiju, and starts destroying things. Like, I guess that's a sea creature. It's underwater. I mean, it's the size of a skyscraper.
It's like, well, I guess.
I guess, like, I suppose that counts as a sea creature.
I like that him being able to communicate with sea creatures is what made him the one true king.
That was actually interesting. That
like the fact that
again, like he communicates with like Cthulhu.
Yeah,
basically, it's like, I guess technically that is a sea creature, I suppose.
And I love how the sea creature was like, "You can understand me."
Yeah, it's funny how you hear her talking the whole time, yelling at him, and then she's like, "You can understand me." I was like, "Oh, that does make sense. Why could we understand her? I hadn't thought that far ahead."
And so that was really cool.
Did you cry at the end? I cried.
Huh?
Did you cry at the end? I cried at the end.
No.
When she showed up on the pier?
I was very happy. I did not cry though.
I feel I'm gonna cry.
I didn't like cry. I teared up. Like I couldn't help it. Alicia cried.
I was
I couldn't help it.
I was really happy because I was like,
you know, it's a good movie.
Django
Nicole
Fett
Kidman
got
makes
his
me
wife
cry.
back.
Who?
Django Fett.
Oh,
that's the guy that plays Django Fett.
God.
I was like, yay, Django
Jesus,
Fett.
I had no idea.
But yeah, I was very happy with the movie. I'm glad because DC, it seems like they finally found their footing when it comes to the movies. They finally found what they want to do, what kind of themes they want to do, what kind of tone they want.
They really did set the tone in the beginning of that movie too.
So
where he just leaves the dude to die. I was like, that was very DC. That was very like, I don't have to say. And
oh
like,
yeah, that submarine
but
fight
I have to
was
save
boss.
They got to be the worst pirates ever. Who shoots? Who brings a grenade launcher and uses it in a submarine and then gets surprised when the wall breaks and they start sinking? Like, you deserve to die. You deserve to die. You had this coming.
I thought that was hilarious, him getting trapped under that torpedo.
It's very iconic.
and Aquaman was just like, deal with it.
He's like, you got yourself into this mess, you can get yourself out. I did feel like the plot was a wee bit predictable, but I suppose I'm gonna allow that in an origin story.
I like that it was an adventure movie.
Yeah.
I got some Uncharted vibes.
Yeah, that's really what it was. It was closer to National Treasure than it was a superhero movie.
I don't like the Pitbull cover of Africa.
They're on a...
But...
That was weird.
It was weird.
just was reading on my phone, mumbling into the microphone quietly while y'all talk, because I love that we have multiple mics and I can do that now.
I'll just cut her out later.
And I just looked up and heard, I didn't like the pit art. It's kind of like National Treasure. I didn't like the Pitbull cover of Africa. And I'm like,
a large portion of the movie
what?
is them looking for the legendary trident, and they're like going on almost a
Oh.
D&D style clue hunt to find it. Like, it is more of a character-driven, like, character arc movie. The movie is more about him growing as a person than it is about anything else. Which is that's why I said, like, when the last battle happened, I was actually it's like the weakest part of the movie, and it's a really good part. It's just not as good as the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I did
I
like
how
go ahead.
good the underwater CGI looked, especially for stuff like the hair.
Have you seen the before and afters of those? It's really impressive. It's really impressive.
well, see, a fun fact is they actually learned to not breathe, and it really was filmed underwater.
I also like how they straight off, because what most people don't know is that Aquaman might be probably the second strongest superhero, and not counting like spin-off ones. Like, you have Superman and Supergirl. I'm gonna count the same thing. Like, Aquaman's probably the second strongest superhero there is. Like, they went to stab him and it just stopped, like Superman. Like, he is like ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, they shoot him with a grenade launcher and it just bounces off of
He's
him.
the Superman
Ow!
of the sea.
Well, that's actually the thing is, if he can run as fast as Superman can, but he's underwater and Superman's not, he can actually run faster than Superman out of water.
Yeah.
If he can be that strong underwater, he's actually stronger than Superman out of water.
You have to
So what
realize
you're
living
saying
underwater
is-
helps with resistance training.
That is interesting how they did that. How even the people that were meant to be underwater, they still kind of felt like they were moving a little bit too slow, but it was still really fast.
Mhm.
I don't know. They got that balance really well. How did they film that?
They were
On
actually
wires,
underwater.
maybe?
I don't know. It was impressive.
I don't know.
It was really impressive. And I love I love how they gave you, what's the word I'm looking for? Not exposition, not plot, but they gave you knowledge about the universe without them feeling like they're stopping and like, let me explain this to you.
Yeah.
Like, they put a big air bubble in it, and he's like, why they hid their stuff in the air bubble? It's like, why the air bubble? It's like, because only nobles can breathe air and water. It's like, oh, I didn't know other Atlanteans can't breathe air. They can only breathe water. And they didn't have to stop the story for that. They just said it in passing. It's like, oh, that makes sense. And they did that a lot. You got a lot of the backstory that way. The only time they really dumped it was their drive into Atlantis, but it was still really visually impressive. So they were kind of talking while they showed off their CGI. But even then they explained something. It's like, why do they have to go through the bridge? Why can't they just go over the walls? Like, oh, because there's guns, and those guns came up later when they needed to get out over the wall. It was a good movie.
It was a really good movie.
I also like the justice at the end, how he gets his butt kicked because he's not used to fighting underwater, and so the last battle he pulls him out of the water and kicks the crap out of that dude because the dude doesn't know how to fight out of water. And William Dafoe character was weird. I felt like he wasn't really a necessary part of that movie. Like, they could have not had him and it still would have made sense.
Yeah.
But it was William Dafoe, so I'm gonna allow it. Like, I guess it made
more
sense.
to add.
It was just a really, really, really good movie, but it's not what you'd expect from a normal superhero movie at all. It was closer to Iron Man 3 than it was anything else.
I love Iron Man 3.
Because Iron Man 3 is less about the fight and more about, like, Iron Man learning to deal with his crap.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like that.
Cool.
Except you have two people that are like, that's what I love so much. It's just like, it's this dynamic between two of them. And they introduced a love plot that felt organic and natural and not like Whedon's now kiss.
Yeah, not he was a boy, she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious?
Yeah, it was more like look at, like, their differences didn't set them apart, but made them stronger because they could cover each other. but their similarities also help pull them together. Like it felt normal instead of just like weird.
Yeah.
Although sometimes they did make a joke out of it. Like she was out of water and she didn't know how to act, and she saw someone eating fruit, and she thought flowers are fruit, so she just like takes a bite of a rose and hands it to Aquaman. He's just like shrugs and just eats a rose with her, and just like eh.
It's a very sweet moment.
And her controlling water is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
That scene where with the wine. I won't say any more about it than that, but that was one of those moments where they're inside the house. Yeah, it's one of those moments where you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I know she's not gonna die here, but then you're like, what's gonna happen? And she starts like moving stuff, and then you realize what's behind her, and you're just like, oh no, oh shit, and it's so much. I had so much fun watching that movie. I would watch it. 10 out of 10 would watch again. Maybe not a 10, but
It was really good.
it was really good.
It's definitely like my second favorite of the DC universe movies.
It's
so
definitely
far.
better than some of the Marvel movies I've seen. Like it is actually up there in movies that were good.
Like
Well, it's like I'm excited. Maybe DC can finally
Hey,
get it.
Marvel had to go through it too.
Yeah.
They've already learned, so we've kind of forgotten about the dark ages, you might say.
all right.
That was a joke.
Speaking of Marvel,
About Thor 2.
segueing into our number 3 movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
My favorite part of Spider-Verse is when, what's his name, Miles?
Yes.
Yeah.
He walks up to Kingpin and goes, "Man, you smell like Up Dog." And he goes, "What's up, dog?" And Miles gets like nervous and turns invisible and runs away.
The best Spider-Man movie so far.
I've
Kingpin
heard amazing reviews.
Was an absolute unit.
He was
Like,
huge.
oh my gosh, was he a chunk? Like, holy crap.
He was chunky.
No idea. Hold on,
Kingpin thick.
let's see if I can find a picture. No,
No,
that's Kong.
While he's doing that, this movie really is the best Spider-Man movie so far. And
Oh,
it's interesting now because Sony's probably like, we did it, guys.
We finally did it.
Okay.
But at the same time, this movie gives them so many potential spin-off opportunities. And I hope they do it.
Okay, real quick, I'm gonna show her a picture of Spider-Man from the Kingpin from the cartoon.
Okay.
That's Kingpin from the cartoon.
Okay, I remember that.
This is him in the movie.
Him's a big boy.
I know, right?
Him's
Told
a
you,
real
he's
big
chunky.
boy.
Oh my gosh.
Why is his
Okay.
head in his boobies?
He's just slouching really
like
bad.
he is his own cleavage tat.
He is his own titty.
Look at me. I am titty.
T-tot. The first 10 minutes, I love how they introduce all the Spider-Man. They do it all the same way. It's like, okay, for the last time, my name's Spider-Man. But the first time they do it, it's a 10-minute thing, and it's like, he is, like, it's almost canon. This Spider-Man is Spider-Man from the, Sam
From
Raimi?
the Raimi movies.
From the
yeah.
Raimi movies, because he's like, it's like, oh, I fought Green Goblin. It's the same scenes, but animated from the movie. It's like, oh, I did this. I saved the world. He's pulling buses. I also did this thing. It's the scene of him doing that dancing.
God bless.
And it's like, I did this one time. We don't talk about that. It's
Oh
like,
my
oh my
God.
gosh. And then he dies.
Spoilers.
I mean, that's what the whole movie's about.
Ah,
He dies in the first 5 minutes.
I thought we would just talk about John Mulaney playing Spider-Ham.
It is the best part of the movie.
Well,
John
I'm
Mulaney
about
was
to get to that.
born to play Spider-Ham.
I don't know. Nick Cage's noir Spider-Man might be better.
Sometimes I light a match and let it burn to my fingers just to feel anything.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And it goes out before it gets here. It goes, oh. But no, what is it? He says something. He's fighting Scorpion, and he puts up his fist, and he calls him something really stupid.
I know what you're
and I
talking
can't remember what it was. He's like,
Because
it's
I
like,
can't-
put up your fisticuffs, you oversized something. And I
Because
thought
I
it was the
kept-
funniest thing I ever heard. I cannot remember what it
I
was.
kept chuckling at it because it was so stupid.
And he's black and white because he's
Mhm.
noir Spider-Man. He can't see color, and so he's got a Rubik's cube. He's like, I don't get it. And Spider-Man's like, nope, that's not it. Nope.
My favorite part is that in this movie, Aunt May is kind of like the Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
she knows where Peter's stuff is, and she takes him down to his little lair. And they have a big fight with the villains in her house.
Mm-hmm.
And it has her in the foreground, and it shows different images of them breaking her stuff.
She's like, take it
and she's
outside.
like, I said to take it outside.
And she gets like a bat and just knocks the crap out of one of them and hits him into the yard. It's like, I said, take it outside.
I was genuinely surprised by the Doc Ock reveal.
I know. I don't know
It
anything
came
about.
out of nowhere.
I don't know anything about
I was
next
like,
gen
oh,
Spider-Man
shit.
stuff, and so when the villain appeared, I had the same reaction as Spider-Man did.
Yeah.
Because they're just talking. It's like, this will be really interesting. You might die from it. And like, I can't wait to watch. And he goes, what? And me and Lacey go, what? And then Doc Ock. I was like, oh my God!
Doc Ock is a woman in this one. Her name is Olivia.
Oh my god.
And you connect the dots at the same time Spider-Man does in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's so great because you're both at the same time like, what?
Yeah, it's basically like, oh.
Oh.
And, it was
And
so
her
bad.
tentacles are much more organic and flexible.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
a gross
really
sentence.
cool.
That's a really gross sentence.
It's really cool.
Her tentacles are more
Scorpion.
organic.
All the villains in this movie are really weird because Scorpion's like,
Someone click on a new website. Her tentacles are more organic.
but Scorpion's like this big
Tentacle
buff
again.
Mexican
Tentacles.
dude.
Oh yeah,
And Green Goblin's a straight up giant goblin with wings.
dude. Yeah, Green Goblin was kind of scary. The whole thing was still done semi comic book style,
Mhm.
and there's never been a movie where that worked until now. Hulk, the first Hulk, tried it and almost.
It was just too weird for live action, but animated here it worked.
It was
so
great.
Well.
Like when he first gets bit and he's like talking in his head, it's actually you're hearing it, but it's still coming up in like the
little
like
yellow
the
square.
little yellow squares and
Yeah.
whatnot. And when people yell, it'll come up. It was just done really well. It was done really, really well. It was there, but not intrusive.
And I feel like that's something that can be pulled off better in animation than it can in real
Probably,
life,
yeah.
unless it's like kind of a jokey type
Well, that's
movie,
the
and then
issue.
I think it worked. But in like an animated thing, it doesn't have to be over the top.
Yeah, that's the
Funny
thing.
for
The
that
Hulk
to
they
work.
could have done. The Hulk they tried to do it and it almost worked. But the problem is that the movie was so serious.
Mhm.
They still could have done it, but they needed to dial it back a bit.
Yeah.
But doesn't matter.
One detail I really liked in the sound design is that towards the end of the movie, there's a scene where Spider Noir, Spider Ham, and Penny Parker both jump down. All three jump down together,
Mm-hmm.
and they each have different jump sound effects. Penny Parker's has an anime jump. Spider Noir's is just a whoosh, and Spider Ham is the boing. And I thought it was really cool that level of detail they put into all the characters and making them like this is truly unique.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about? Because I've heard there's controversy about Penny Parker because she wasn't supposed to be that anime. Like,
First I've heard of it.
I don't know nothing. I just
Because
know that
she's-
John Mulaney was Spider Ham.
And it's perfect. As someone who was already a massive John Mulaney fan,
Yeah.
hearing his voice in this movie just made me so happy.
Because I saw a person post and he said the funny thing is if you don't know who he is, you're going to assume that he put on a voice to play
Yes.
Spider Ham.
But
When
it's
he
his
didn't.
real
That's
voice.
his real voice.
That's her in the comic.
Okay.
That was her in the movie.
Oh, they put her a bit more.
She's Asian.
Hawaii.
That's actually how she came in. She's like, oh, konnichiwa, and she's American. Like she's of Asian descent. She's not Japanese.
Yeah.
And so people had a really big issue with that because that's not her.
Who she is, yeah.
But again, I think that might be versions of her that are like that, and they took it from that. But I
I
don't
thought
think...
it worked very well in that context, though, because I liked that
I see your point. But like, hold on.
Miles,
Let me-
everyone is animated in a very comic booky style.
Yes,
Mhm.
but
And then Spider Ham is like all
that's what
Looney
she's
Tunes.
supposed to look like. Making her look that anime is racist. It's kind of racist.
like they made her a
See
bit
what I
more
mean?
caricature.
But I
But
mean,
again, it seems like there's images of her already looking like that. So maybe there's.
I feel
context.
like
It very well may
they're
be there's-
justified in
Well,
making
yeah.
it more anime.
I don't know what I'm talking about. So there very well be that she looked like kawaii version before, and they made her look more serious in a different comic, and the images I'm being sent aren't right. So I don't know. But
I
still,
like that.
I did feel like her intro was a little over the top.
Yeah. I like Dad Bod Spider-Man.
Homeless.
I
call him Homeless Spider-Man. Someone called him that one time in that movie, and I've gone
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
no,
Homeless Spider-Man.
They said we're in hot pursuit of a guy dressed like Spider-Man riding on a homeless corpse.
That's what it was.
My favorite part is that in the entire movie, he's in costume, but he's wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
He's got the top and the mask, but he's got sweatpants on.
Well, that's
I
how
thought
he
that
came
was
into our
hilarious.
universe.
Relatable.
I
I said relatable.
My favorite thing, I don't think there's any place where Spider-Ham would have ever worked otherwise. Good old Peter Porker.
Oh, no doubt.
I read his backstory, and that was the
I'm
most
about to get to that.
horrific thing I've ever
I'm
read
about
in
to
my
get to that.
life.
One, it's really great because they go through, like, everyone has their own intros. Like, it's like, okay, for the last time, my name is Spider-Man. They all do the intro the same way. And it's like, how did you get here? And they fall through a portal, and, like, you're talking to Homeless Spider-Man,
Peter B. Parker.
Peter B. Parker. And, like, he gets shot out of the portal and hits, like, this billboard and falls. And Spider-Gwen goes through the same thing, and she tells her long story, gets shot through the portal and hits this billboard and falls. And they go through you see the other three at the same time. It's like, how did you get here? It's a long story, and it cuts, and you see, like, in, like, comic book panel style, all three of them hit the thing and fall. You go, okay, maybe not that long of a story. And they're going through, and they're all telling their stories in, like, alternating bits. And then at the same time, they all go, and I was bit by a radioactive spider, except for Spider-Ham. He goes, I was bit by a radioactive pig. But he says it at the same time as them, and they're like comic book style, like all three next to each other. But the other two just turn and look at him like, what? It's like, it's really quick, and if you don't notice it, you just miss it. But like, they look so concerned. Do you know Spider-Ham's story?
Oh, can I look
Spider-Ham.
this up and just read it?
No, I got this.
Okay.
I know it. Spider-Ham is from a universe where all the people and superheroes are anthropomorphic animals.
Mhm.
May Porker is a genius pig working on the world's first nuclear-powered hairdryer because she thinks nuclear fission will help bring American beauty salons to the standards they need to be. And she tries to dry her wet hair with the nuclear-powered hairdryer, and it radiates her, and she goes crazy and bites a regular spider. A regular spider, and that regular spider being bitten by the radioactive pig turns that regular spider into Spider-Ham.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Like, what the crap? It's like I was reading it, and just the more you just go down that paragraph, just the weirder it gets. Just gets dumber and dumber. And then part of her being radioactive means that when it finally settles, she thinks that she's Peter Porker's aunt, and that's how she becomes Aunt May Porker. I'm just like, what
I like
the hell?
after Uncle Aaron dies and he goes to the other Spider-Men to talk about it. And they all say a different uncle, but it's like Uncle Ben and my Uncle Benjamin.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought that was hilarious. And I like when they're asking him if he can do this or do that, and Spider-Ham goes, "Can you float through the air when you smell a delicious pie?"
Yeah, the fact that he stayed cartoony, like he was Looney Tunes cartoony, like Lori, like Peter Porker pulled like giant hammers out of his pocket, like Looney Tunes style.
Oh my god.
He even gives it to him as a gift in the end. It's like, here, it'll fit in your pocket. Like, I don't know that it will.
I like can he say that?
Like, legally, can he
legal?
say that? I love, and it was in the trailer. Just the movie, we're just talking about Spider-Ham at this point. Like, they're all hiding from someone, and the guy turns around and sees them, starts freaking out, and they're all real quiet, and Spider-Ham's like, do animals talk in your universe? Because I don't want to freak them out. Like, I just passed that. But it was so good. And Homeless Spider-Man, his character arc was interesting because apparently him and
Mary
Jane broke up because she wanted kids and he did.
Oh.
And then he starts training Miles. And at one point he's like, I'm so proud of you. Do I want kids? But they're being attacked at the time, so the train of thought just stops.
I love the ending when Miles is fighting Kingpin while the universes are colliding.
Dude, that wouldn't have worked.
It's such a visual
visual style would have only worked
and
animated like that or in Thor Ragnarok. These are the only
it was
places where that would have worked.
It looked so good.
It was so crazy.
See, Thor Ragnarok's one of those movies. If they wanted to have done that style, of
They
comic
probably
book,
could
they
have.
could have.
I love how this is a little off topic, but why does Thor get dumber when he's outside of his own movies? You ever notice that? Like, he talks perfectly normal in Thor Ragnarok, but then come Infinity Wars, he starts talking weird again, like goodbye, more like he doesn't know the meaning of words anymore.
Because
Different
no one else knows
writers.
how to write him.
I mean, it really is different people writing the
I
script.
mean, it is funny, but at that point, like he's kind of in between in Infinity Wars, and I think that's a good place. It's goodbye, morons.
I feel like in Infinity War, he's
A
just so
person
over
called
it.
out the fact that he uses moron in Ragnarok and knows exactly what it means.
Sometimes I wonder, like my theory is that he does that as a defense mechanism, and he seems like he's dumber than he actually is at this point.
Maybe it's to try and stay humble.
And I'll be honest, best part, I'm off subject again, but oh well. Best part of Infinity War is like you could not, because I just watched it, so it's on my mind. The best part was like you can't wield these weapons; they would kill your body and melt your brain. It's like, is it weird that I want to wield them more? It's like a little, yeah. It's so funny because like it's almost like the actor was not ready for that question when someone said it to him. He's like, a little bit, yes.
Into the Spider-Verse. Such a good movie.
It was. Everyone had their sort of character. Well, some of them had their own character arc. The main 3 Spider-Men did. The other ones were just kind of there. But
It was great. And I really like Miles. Miles is such a great character.
I didn't know he could turn invisible
I didn't know that either.
or electrocute people.
I'm wondering
I
if that's
also
comic
like
canon or
how-
if they just made that up for the movie.
I don't know. I also like how he's a parkourer before he's bit.
That's cool.
And so he actually, like, even in the last fight scenes, he runs more than he swings. And he actually outruns the villains by running more than he does, like, swinging and stuff. He still swings a lot, but
it's amusing because all the other Spider-Men have the last name Parker, and Miles does parkour. And it
don't.
makes him a parkour.
I think you're
And
looking
he's still
you're
a
looking
Parker.
too hard at this. You're taking
I only
too
know
much
that
out of
because
this.
you said parkour, and I was like, that's
Parkour.
almost Parker.
I like at the end
Parkour.
where he hugs his dad while he's Spider-Man, but his dad doesn't know.
Officer.
And he runs away and goes, "I love you," and his dad goes,
Yeah, that was weird. I figured out the identity of that one bad guy. I won't say who, don't spoil that part. Like, way too late. I should have seen it coming, and I didn't figure it out until, like, 30 seconds before it happened. I don't know.
Prowler?
Yeah, Prowler.
I already knew who Prowler was.
See, I didn't, and I figured it out, like, by the time I figured it out, it wasn't, like, right before it happened, actually, but it was late enough that I was ashamed of myself for not having figured it out. Which I guess is a good thing. Because that's how I felt during, Aquaman. That's what I love. I'm going back to Aquaman a little bit, but the thing about Aquaman, I call it a predictable movie. I shouldn't have said predictable. Basic is probably a better word. It's a little bit basic. But at the same time, there are very many moments where, like, I don't know how this is going to end. Like, I don't know where they're going to go from here. And it was just really nice to watch a movie and not know how it was immediately going to unfold throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it was more adventure than anything else. And so, but Into the Spider-Verse, I don't want to say too much about it. Just go see it. Like, a lot of the first half of that movie is just Miles dealing with him being a kid, and then not the first half, like first quarter, and then the second quarter is him figuring out how to deal with having powers, and the rest of the movie is like, bad guys, other Spider-Man.
It's really good.
I want to try and go to
Talk about the
movies
most
more.
important
I
part.
need to see it.
Spider-Man 2099. Traveling back to the 60s to recruit 60 Spider-Man. And they recreate the pointing meme.
Well, I mean, I already knew that happened because one of y'all posted it in Discord, and the other one was like, "Oh my god, I freaked out when that scene happened."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm like, I can appreciate that they, because it's like with all the Spider-Men
it was the
and everything,
post-credit scene, yeah.
But it's like with all the Spider-Men to be able to add in the fact that 60 Spider-Man is such a huge meme on the internet.
Yeah, he actually said, "I'm going to go back to where it all started."
Yeah.
And he does that. It's like you. It's like you. It's like, why are you pointing at me? That's rude. It's like, you pointed first. It was really...
How dare you point at me? Who pointed first? Spider-Man pointed first, obviously.
Spider-Man!
He's like, this is spider pointing. It's different from regular pointing.
Oh my god.
It's so funny. All right, so...
But it's funny, they do that, though. That actually was a setup for a potential sequel of the
that's
Spider-Man that
cool.
actually can time travel. because they're trying to do a thing where the Spider-Man can actually, now that it's open, because the whole point of the movie is they were dying because they weren't in their own universe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the whole point of that scene was to try to make it where they're going to find a way where they can come into other people's universe without dying, so they're going to keep making more crossover movies.
That'd be really cool.
Basically, I hope there's very many sequels.
So many sequels.
Because this is just Sony's in a really
Spider-Man
great
was
position where, and they've actually,
I didn't know she had an
they've already
undercut
talked about
until I saw
this.
Hold on, finish your thought. We'll come back to that.
I'm about to say, Sony's in a very good position, and they've actually talked about this, where they can build a franchise off of this movie and let Marvel Studios keep handling the live action stuff, so they can focus
I
on
would like that, yeah.
this stuff. And I'm like, hey, everybody wins. We get live action Spider-Man in the MCU, and we continue getting this really cool animated Spider-Man universe.
That'd be
Win-win
really
for
cool.
everyone.
Yeah.
Now, repeat what you said to me to him.
I said I like that Spider-Gwen has a really cool undercut.
Oh.
She doesn't. But Miles can't control his powers, and he gets his hand stuck in her hair, and they have to cut it.
Really?
Yeah, that's...
So great.
He's like, I like your haircut. You're not allowed to talk about my haircut.
That's funny. He makes a really stupid joke when he first meets her, and I thought it was really, really sweet moment. I like the, hey.
Hey. I love how they end the movie that way. He goes with a kingpin. Hey.
But yeah, it's a really good movie. You should really...
I want to go see it. I think
Check
my
it
new
out.
goal is going to be to try and go to the movies once a week.
I want more Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen's dark. She's a very angry Spider-Man woman thing person. Spider-person.
I realized there was so many villains in here that I didn't know who they were because they're animated so differently. Like, I didn't realize Scorpion was Scorpion at first because he had a completely different design than what I'm used to.
I like how it didn't matter, too.
Yeah.
Like, they were bad guys. Kill them. Like, if you know who they... Yeah, go for it. If you knew who they were, great. And if not, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now you know, maybe. Which, I don't know. I feel like maybe they should have been doing that from the beginning. Like, we didn't need an origin story for every single villain, did we? Like...
Depends on the villain.
I felt like that really held back Sandman. Like, that was way too long of a build-up for that retardulous story.
Yeah, but that's the least of that movie's problems.
Well, that's true. Is that 3?
But at the same time,
2.
Vulture in Homecoming doesn't really have an origin story.
Not
and
really.
What origin he does have takes up all of like 3 minutes.
He's a simple man. He just wants
And
to
it's-
stop being screwed over.
And it seems like Mysterio is going to be the same way. Mysterio's just going to be someone who shows up in the movie and he's already a character.
I still want Doctor Strange to be in that movie.
I don't think he's going to be.
I know, but just so Mysterio, like, not actually using magic just confuses the ever-loving crap out of Doctor Strange. I don't sense any magic! How is he doing this? Granted, I don't know. Maybe in this, Mysterio will use magic. I don't really know enough about Mysterio. I don't know what they're doing with these movies.
Mysterio is all illusions and effects.
I wonder... I'm actually... Is Mysterio considered like a lesser Spider-Man villain? Is he just one that
Mysterio?
Yeah.
He's one of the more famous ones.
I don't know. It just seemed odd
He's
to go
a Sinister
from...
Six.
It seems odd. They went from like Vulture to Mysterio. I'd never heard of Vulture.
I think they're kind of doing... You never heard of Mysterio?
No, I've heard of Mysterio, but I never heard of Vulture. That's my
really?
point. I was wondering if they were... Because I don't know... I know Spider-Man from my point of view only from when I was a kid. I stopped paying attention to Spider-Man stuff when I grew up. So I don't know what was considered a big villain and what wasn't. I just know from the old cartoon.
Spider-Man is kind of the same as Batman, where like almost all of his villains are popular enough to be considered A-list, with very few exceptions.
Like, I had never heard of Vulture.
Really?
Mm-mm.
He's one of the popular ones.
The closest I had heard of Vulture was Birdman.
That's funny.
I'm never gonna stop making that joke. But yeah.
All right, so I mean, this has been a pretty solid year so far. We got 3 nerd movies that come out within like a week of each other, and they all turned out to be really good. So
Wait. I was gonna... I just remember the best part of the Spider-Man Spider-Verse was by far the Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
They even end the credits that way. He's like, we need to find that. Like, jingle bells, Spider-Man, or Green Goblin spells, Spider-Man save the day. I can't believe I'm singing on a Christmas album. I have a degree in biologic engineering. Why am I doing this?
Oh my god.
Is it biological engineering? Bioengineering? Something like that.
Well,
He's a very cynical
3
Spider-Man.
movies that were really good.
They were really good.
Congrats, guys.
It's a good way to start the year or end the year. Depends on when you saw them.
I saw
Bro, I'm counting
all
them as
3 of these
2019.
movies after New Year's, so
I did too.
good start to the year. Cha-ching.
Did we talk 3 movies?
I talked Bumblebee, Aquaman, and Spider-Man.
Right, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee tuna.
Lori's not here.
Oh my god.
Lori got here earlier than you did. She got here on time. Thank you very much.
Yeet.
Time. I had to work today.
That's not my problem. I gotta work early tomorrow. I'm still here.
Me too. I gotta
I
be
have
up
to
at
work
3
early.
a.m.
That's
Oh, I don't
way
have to
earlier
work
than I have
that
to work
early.
tomorrow.
So
You need,
suck it,
you
Brad.
need to go home, boy. All right, that's enough. I don't know how to end this.
We got
By the
anything else
time we
to talk
record
about?
again, I'll have seen these movies.
So you
Well,
say.
guess what? We're not gonna be talking about them then.
No, but I'll still mention it in
Oh.
passing.
What are we gonna be talking about?
I have a list. Let me pull up this list.
Yeah, that makes me think. I was gonna
I
talk
think
about.
the next movie is Glass.
Ugh.
See, I haven't seen the others because is that connected to
Yes.
Hey, do you have Hulu?
like yeah?
Unbreakable's on Hulu.
Okay.
Watch it.
Is Split part of
Yes.
that too?
Mhm.
See, I didn't realize until I saw the trailer for Glass. I did not realize that Unbreakable and Split were in the same universe.
It's at the they let you know at the end of Split.
Okay.
Only if you've seen Unbreakable would you get it.
So
Haven't.
I made a list of the 2019 movies we need to discuss and the 2019 movies we can discuss if we see them.
Oh, see, I need. Okay, hold on.
But real quick, what I was going to talk about when I went to go see Aquaman, we were actually talking about Deadpool, and I was talking about how I was sick of meta humor. Like we need to stop. We need to chill out with the meta humor joke.
Yeah.
And then the Lego Movie 2 trailer comes out, and Chris Pratt sees himself as something like Danger Pants or something like that. Have you seen that?
Rick Dangervest.
I have
Rick
not.
Dangervest is like who? Because Chris
I
Pratt's
think.
doing both voices, and
Oh.
Chris Pratt's he's playing the regular Emmett, and then he's also playing Chris Dangervest. He's like, who are you? It's like, I'm Chris Dangervest, cowboy, space. What's he call him? Space pirate, cowboy, space pirate, raptor trainer. And Emmett goes, I don't get it.
Oh my god.
And it was just so freaking funny.
All I know is Chris Pratt has the Emmett Lego figure, and on Instagram he's posted videos of him like holding him, going, "Hi, I'm Emmett, and I'm here to tell you need to watch Lego." I was like, "Oh my god!"
My poor Emmett is about to die, and I'm so glad they're making another movie so I can get a new one.
I'm like, if he like went Toy Story on you when you're gone, he's just like screaming and
But he's not a toy; he's a keychain.
Okay. Here we go.
He's
So
got
what
a
movies are we
keychain
gonna discuss?
drilled in his head.
The movies I have under need to discuss are Glass, the Lego Movie 2, Alita Battle Angel,
Eh.
How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Nah. No,
You don't like those movies?
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, then fine.
Isn't he voiced by
Someone?
person?
Who?
Wow.
The
dragon.
guy in Dragon.
The main character?
Yeah.
He's voiced by Jay Baruchel.
Oh, never mind.
Captain Marvel, Dumbo, Shazam, Hellboy.
Oh, you are going way too fast.
The list is in our Google Drive folder.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna pay attention to that. I'm from the 1700s,
So,
okay?
Avengers Endgame, Detective Pikachu, Rocket Man,
Rocket Man.
Aladdin,
Nah.
Godzilla King of the Monsters,
I haven't seen any of the other Godzilla movies, but I'll see that one.
Dark Phoenix,
All right.
Men in Black International, Toy Story 4, Spider-Man Far From Home, The Lion King, The New Mutants, Joker, Zombieland 2, Terminator reboot. I don't know if it's a reboot. Well, I don't know what it is. I just know there's a Terminator movie coming out this year.
I'm gonna assume it's a reboot.
Sonic the Hedgehog,
Oh, what? Oh, I forgot about that.
Kingsman 3, Frozen 2,
Oh boy.
Jumanji 3, Masters of the Universe, and Star Wars Episode 9.
Where is this list in our Discord?
It's called Movies 2019.
How do I get to that, Brad?
He said drive.
Go to it's in the
I thought he
Drive.
said Discord.
I'm
I'm
not-
sorry.
I'm not
I'm
sure.
90. I don't understand how things work.
I'm not sure
Apparently.
like exactly what folder it's in.
I'll figure it out.
You should just get the Nerdly Kingdom folder.
Now the movies I have under discuss if we see them is Replicas, The Kid Who Would Be King, Chaos Walking, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, Us, Pet Cemetery, Missing
Oh, yeah.
Link,
I'm definitely seeing Pet Cemetery.
John Wick Chapter
Really?
3,
Okay.
Doom,
Oh, I'm definitely seeing Doom.
Ad Astra, Child's Play, Hobbs and Shaw, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Artemis Fowl, Addams Family, It Chapter 2, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Charlie's Angels, and Knives Out.
Hey, if Josh is home, he can come in and tell us about the new Wreck-It Ralph movie.
Hey,
Did
you
he
see
actually
Wreck-It
go
Ralph?
and see it? Man, he took one for the team, didn't he?
Well, someone else picked the movie.
Oh.
I chose not to.
Did you have Men in Black? You did have
Yes,
Men
I
in Black
did.
International on there.
All right,
okay.
those are the reviews that you can look forward to in 2019, plus
We will
some
probably-
indie shit that I'll
I was gonna
probably see
say,
in between
About a
there.
third of
I
those
need
will
to
get recorded
add-
and lost,
I
but
need
also
to add Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Zombieland.
he said zombie.
That's on there.
You did. And apparently they're also going to do an Are You Afraid of the Dark movie. Nickelodeon is.
Yeah.
But I'm still here for it.
Is it this year? It didn't show up in the.
I
don't
went
know.
to this was on the Wikipedia 2019, so I don't
Okay,
know.
I must have missed it then. Also, I wanted to start doing this just because I wanted to start doing a Netflix recommendation to the viewers based
Yeah.
off what we're watching.
I'm here for that.
So I'll go ahead and do that now since this is episode 1 of season 2.
Hey, we made it to season 2.
Yay, season 2! Holla holla, get dollar.
Well, I'm shutting down this whole podcast now because of that. That was awful.
So Netflix recommendation for this episode is the Stanford Prison Experiment.
Ooh, I didn't know that was on Netflix.
Yeah. Me and Maggie watched this the other night. I was stressed out the entire movie. It's about it's based on this study that this psychologist did back in the 70s or 80s
Mm-hmm.
where he picked 9 individual students. He picked 9 people became prisoners and 9 people became guards, and they created a faux prison in the basement of the college.
Mm-hmm.
And the study was, I'm not exactly sure what the point of the study was.
I feel I've read about this.
But it was for 2 weeks. The prisoners had to be locked in the prison, and the guy running the experiment was just going to watch to see what happened. And it was a 2-week experiment that lasted 6 days because of how off the rails things got. Because the guys playing the guards got way too into their roles and started to verbally and mentally abuse the prisoners. And the prisoners just became these robot zombies that just went along with everything that was doing in fear of being punished. And the person leading the psychologist, since he was an active member, because the psychiatrists that were running the experiment were the wardens of the prison. And because they were actively involved in the experiment, they also had a really weird psychological effect on them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically them realizing how abusive of power people can become when put into a class system like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very stressful movie.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And
I did a paper on it in college.
it's just,
Oh wow. Maybe you're why I know about it then.
Very possible.
I would recommend checking it out. It's a very good movie. It's, from what I understand, 100% factual of what happened, because they wrote the script.
Sounds about right.
They wrote the script based on what little video footage they could gather and transcripts that were taken from the video footage of the experiment.
Yeah.
So
The paper I did was it wasn't just that one. It was that one and other experiments in the 70s, like the one where they shock people.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was, the way it works is like you tell someone to spell something, they spell it wrong, you shock them,
Mhm.
But it's what they don't know is the person being shocked. They can't see them. It's just an actor pretending to scream, and it was to see how far people would go. And most people just would crank it all the way up just for money, because the higher you went in the scale, the more you got paid, and they would just shock the shit out of people. Yeah, it was a lot of fun experience.
It's a very interesting movie. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. So that's it for me, I guess.
Awesome.
You ready for the 2019?
Woo!
Woo!
And of course, if you guys have any suggestions on movies that we should watch or talk about in 2019, you can always contact us at our email, nerdlykingdom@gmail.com.
Yep.
You can get us on Twitter at @the_nerddom. You can get us on Instagram at thenerdlykingdom, our Facebook, also the Nerdly Kingdom. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, anything, feel free to message us. We would love to hear from you.
Bye.